Good morning on this Friday morning. I can't help but look outside. Absolutely beautiful day here in Minnesota. Going to be 77 degrees today, believe it or not. It was just a couple weeks ago we had snow on the ground. This week it's been unbelievable. As a matter of fact, it's interesting when you look at the markets last week. We had that terrible week, the worst week since March. We still had that nasty weather kind of hanging around. This week, the weather changed dramatically. We suddenly got all these 70-degree days hitting us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and now again on Friday. And the market's just been absolutely skyrocketing to the upside. Take a look at yesterday. We opened the day, we knew things were going to be very strong. And then by the time we actually got to start off the day, we were up about 450 points on the Dow. That's pretty daggone big day. NASDAQ up about 240 or thereabouts. And then by the end of the day, we just kind of held on to those gains. It was just a really nice performance from the markets once again, an explosive move to the upside once again. You look over at the NASDAQ up 300 points. I mean, these are massive moves that I think we all need to just sit back and take a little note. 2.5% move for the NASDAQ yesterday. Once again, 2% moves across the board. Volatility has been coming in. There's no doubt about that. Take a look at what gold is doing. Now, we haven't talked about gold in a while because there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about, but it's been steadily kind of moving to the upside. Yesterday, about a 2.5% move to the upside, getting close to that 1950 level. Take a look at silver doing about the same thing, up 5% yesterday, hanging around towards that $25 level as well. So some movement there. You got the volatility index, as I mentioned, that was trading somewhere close to about 28. It was in this range, call it 27 to 29 yesterday. Finished up the day around that 28 level. Now the semiconductors, unbelievable move to the upside, and a lot of that spiked early on because of Qualcomm and what their earnings were, and talking about 5G and that whole storyline, and up about 13% yesterday, a massive move to the upside because of that 5G chip and the demand that they are forecasting going forward. You look at Cuervo, Applied Materials, Skyworks, MU, which is Micron, Lam Research, NVIDIA, AMD, all those names moving to the upside. A nice strong day for the semiconductors. Obviously, you look over at the NASDAQ, it's not just big tech names, it's also semiconductors. Got a little bit of a reprieve after that huge move when we talk about biotech. Biogen on that explosive move just the other day, up 40% on Wednesday. Just an incredible run. It was pulling back yesterday. You expect to see a little bit of that after that type of a move on a multi-billion-dollar market cap. I think it's $25 billion market cap company to move up 40%. That's pretty extraordinary. So you expect a little bit of a pullback in there. But technology was strong once again yesterday. Names like Tesla, Netflix, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, Google, all strong, all helping the markets as they were moving on their way to the upside. Industrials had some good strength as well, up about 2.5%. Financials been bringing this up a little bit more, as you know, as we've recaptured that 25 level of the XLF. We'll see if there's anything left in the tank to go a little bit higher, but 2% move, 2% plus move yesterday when you look over at the financials. 34 million contracts trading yesterday, 34 million. That's another monstrous day. We've had a couple of these in the 30 plus million volume this week. I believe it was Wednesday, and then obviously yesterday, Thursday, well over 30 million contracts. Just an incredible run. So what were some of the names that were getting the fuel that was pushing that? Well, Apple actually traded about the normal Apple, 2 million contracts. It had been trading a little bit less than that of late. Yesterday fulfilled what we were expecting, 2 million. NIO about 1.5 million contracts, well above normal there. Tesla, 700,000, and then rounding it off, you had Baba and Facebook and Microsoft, all 400,000 or more contracts trading there. So a lot of volume and a lot really focused, and you can see where that focus is. We talked about NASDAQ being up 300 points. Well, hello, take a look at what the names were, whether were the stocks where we were seeing a lot of the most derivative action, definitely in that same sort of category. The Fed keeping things around zero. Hopefully that was transparent enough for everybody out there to understand that, because that's been something that's been projected out for quite a while now. I think that they've continued to be very transparent. They probably will continue to do so. And it's something that I think the surprise would be any kind of movement over the next couple of sessions. But early on this morning, things not looking all that great. First day of the week that things look like there's a little bit of pressure on. So the Dow started off okay. It was in the green, not by a whole lot, but it was in the green. NASDAQ was down early. That was to be expected. It was down about 60 points or so right out of the gate. S&P kind of flat, but down a little bit. Then quickly, we looked over. The Dow started getting hit to the downside. It's down about 60 points. NASDAQ down about 60 points. The S&P down about 8 points. Nothing big. although the NASDAQ's starting to get a little more than 0.5%. And then all of a sudden you get first 15 minutes of the day start going down a little bit further. Here we are 30 minutes into the trading session. Dow down about 150 points right now. NASDAQ down about 120 points. That's about a 1% move now to the downside. S&P down about 0.5%. Down, call it 16 points, which 16 points for the S&P these days is kind of a ho-hum moment, right? You don't even worry about that. Just the movement that we have been seeing has been absolutely extraordinary, both up and down and intraday has been unbelievable. We look over at volatility index coming back down even a little bit more, trading right around 27 right now, 27.11, the exact number right now. So we got some economic numbers out there. The economy added 638,000 jobs. You look over at the unemployment numbers, however, that dropped down to 6.9%, well below what was expected. And the markets really kind of shook that off. I think we're still trying to decipher what's going on in the elections as we continue to go through the ballots and all the number and the counting and everything, and still working on the states. But that's something that just continues to be a part, and it could be. This doesn't necessarily have to happen today. I think a lot of people just figured, well, Tuesday, that's it. We're going to find out Wednesday. Absolutely not. We may be in this for a little bit longer than you might expect, but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But I think we've generally at least gotten through the process, the voting, and they're counting the votes and recounting and doing all the things that are going on behind the scenes. But it seems as if right now that Vice President Biden certainly does have at least a lead, but we'll see if that's something that can hang on. So what's really moving in the markets today? Well, early on, we've got some strength from Caterpillar. It looked like the industrial space really one of those areas that's having a little bit of leadership. T-Mobile, Microchip, AMD, Xilinx, CVS, all those to the upside. So that gives you a little bit of a hint of what's really kind of happening within the markets themselves. You got some weakness in names like Electronic Arts. That's down about 8% today. Cigna, United Health, both down about 3% for Cigna, about 1.5% for United Health, at least early on. But those things could change very rapidly. But we've been talking about healthcare since the election. And obviously Wednesday, Thursday, you take a look and you can see where some of the movement has been and where some of the strength has been. So technology down a little bit early. We got healthcare down a little bit early. We got industrials close to flat, maybe a little bit green, but kind of wavering around. So that's about to be expected. And financials, I mentioned that XLF finally getting back and above that 25 level, that magnet area that we talk about. Well, that's about flat as well, probably getting a little bit of a pullback as the markets are down. Although I'm seeing a pretty decent jump in a short period of time here at the top of the hour, where we're now down about 92 points in the Dow. So we've recovered some of that. Now, one area that's been pretty active for us, and a lot of people discussing it, has been in the pot world, the marijuana world. So when I look at some of these pot stocks, that conversation has been very hot. People talking about that and deciding which names and all the rest of that. Well, I'm going to give you some unusual option activity there. Aurora Cannabis, that's been a little bit active today, this morning. First unusual option that we did see was in Aurora, and that was pretty interesting. ACB is the symbol there for that. It's trading just under $9 a share. What are they buying? They're buying next week's, so November 13th, next week, so this is a 1 week option, the 10 strike calls. Those are going for about $1.25. They paid all the way up to $2 as they were trying to get as many as they could. They ended up buying about 3,600 calls in that name. So ACB is one of those names. Did stand out right out of the gates for me. I thought that unusual was interesting for sure and worth noting for you guys here on the take. I got to tell you something. Get out there and enjoy the weekend. This has been a really wild couple of weeks. Last week, not so great. This week, unbelievable push to the upside. We were talking about certain levels, whether it's the Dow or the NASDAQ or the S&P and volatility index just a week and a half or so ago, or a week ago or so. We actually closed above 40. Here we are at 27. Doesn't sound like a lot maybe for some of you. Just imagine that as a stock, though. Stock that was trading 40, now trading 27. That's a pretty significant move to the downside. That's exactly what we're seeing right now as volatility becomes something that's coming out of the markets. And let's not forget, today's a Friday. You start pricing in the weekend, Saturday and into Sunday, and then obviously we are up and running again on Monday. But as you price in the weekend, that pulls a little bit more volatility down. So don't be surprised if we do see the volatility index somewhere in the 26s by the end of the day, as opposed to right now, like as I mentioned, around 27.11. Folks, have a great weekend. Be safe, be smart, get educated, understand the derivatives world. That's where the growth is. You heard me talk about it yesterday. 33 million. You heard me talk about it today. 34 million contracts. This is where the growth is, but you better have an understanding of it. The Market Rebellion team will help educate you. And one of these days, not too distant future, you might even be able to start trading. That might be something that comes along as well. We'll see. That could be something pretty interesting going forward. And by the way, appreciate all that feedback. Continue to get a lot of feedback about us going live for this take. Be looking forward to that. That'll be absolutely fantastic. We get a couple Q&A in there as well. Not going to go too long, but we'll get a chance to do some of that stuff in the morning. Got to get ready. Today, I will be on the noon show, the halftime report with Scott Wapner and the whole gang, of course, talking about everything that we're talking about each and every day. But we got some great focus. We have had so much, and we appreciate it, folks. The tweet that they put out that shows the unusual option activity, that has been on absolute fire. So keep it up. You love it. I tell you what, it is something that we believe in, and it's been something that we've been working on for a really long period of time. We really appreciate everybody and the activity, as well as the folks that the activity of looking and taking a look on that on Twitter and other social media sites and so forth like that. I'll also be on the 5 o'clock show. I'll also be at the cocktail hour right after that half hour. It's only a half-hour segment on Fridays of the 5 o'clock show, the Fast Money Show. Melissa Lee, look forward to seeing you, sister. Look forward to seeing the rest of the gang there as well. Folks, have a great weekend.